Former Decatur police officer Mac Marquette in Tuscaloosa today, along with his attorneys, state prosecutors, and the state Supreme Court. Justices agreed to hear oral arguments from attorneys on both sides of his murder case to weigh whether Marquette should be granted immunity for the deadly shooting of Stephen Perkins back in 2023. Marquette's appeal reached the Supreme Court after two lower courts rejected his request for immunity. News 19 was in the room as oral arguments unfolded.
We think that the Court of Criminal Appeals walked that line correctly in its narrow decision, and we would ask for a similarly narrow decision by this court.
The Alabama Supreme Court heard about 45 minutes of oral arguments today in an effort to determine if Mac Marquette's murder case should go to trial or if the case should be dismissed. Marquette's attorneys say he acted in self-defense in killing Stephen Perkins.
Their argument is that if I look at that body cam footage, that I should be able to say as a matter of law that this officer had a reasonable belief that he was about to be shot. That's your argument.
I believe so.
The state's argument would be different, but that would be your argument.
That would be our argument.
If the justices agree, the criminal case is over. But the state wants to see this go to trial.
Our argument is simply that we should be able to go to a jury and have the jury determine whether he was acting in self-defense at that time.
The defense pushed back against arguments the officer should have never been involved in the second repossession attempt.
The officer's presence was legal and justified within their scope of duty.
The state disagreed with that statement, arguing Marquette should not have been at the Perkins home in the first place, noting it's against Decatur police policy to help in a repossession unless paperwork is filed first. They say he was not acting within the scope of his job. The night of September 29th, 2023, officers were told by the tow truck driver, Caleb Combs, that Perkins threatened him for trying to repo the truck earlier that night. During oral arguments, members of the state Supreme Court questioned if Perkins even knew Decatur police were at his house, since they did not announce themselves until seconds before the shooting.
What about Perkins pointing that gun was unlawful? What makes that act unlawful if you're coming out of your house on your own property?
How can I be menacing if I step out of my house and think someone's on my property inappropriately and I have a gun in my hand? How's that menacing?
Well, it's the threatened use of force here that would have been unlawful.
You can't defend your family?
You can't defend your home with deadly physical force or threatening deadly physical force unless certain...
You better not show up at my house.
The justices questioned the state as well. Marquette says he believed his life was in danger, so he had to shoot to protect himself and Combs, regardless of where it was.
What is it in 798609 that says that he could not be there pursuant to lawful instructions from his superiors? He's in full police regalia. He's in a police vehicle and all that. I understand he was standing in the shadows. We can get to that. That's a totally separate issue. These statutes talk about reasonable perception, reasonable belief. That's the exact wording of these statutes. What did this officer reasonably believe at the point of contact with the victim?
There's no timetable for the court to rule in this case. I spoke to loved ones from both sides who came from North Alabama to Tuscaloosa to show their support. Each hopes the Supreme Court will rule in their favor.
We did see, we saw some things that we feel went positive and in our favor, and we saw some things that kind of, you know, we don't know which way that's going. I think that we need a jury process in order to get the fairest outcome available for both sides.
I'm not clear on where it stands now. I pretty much think the Supreme Court's going to do the same thing the Circuit Court did, and they're going to punt and send it to a jury trial. And I actually hope they do, you know, grant the immunity. And there's other avenues that this case could go, but I do not think that Officer Marquette is guilty of murder.
Marquette's murder trial was supposed to start this week, but it was moved once the state Supreme Court agreed to hear oral arguments. In Tuscaloosa, Lauren Layton, News 19.